see if we're live. We are. Looks like we're live, but
Are we actually
I
live?
haven't got an alert on my phone yet. Oh, yep, there we go. We're live. Okay.
Yep, nice, yes. We did it right! Woo!
Woo! Look at that. Okay, awesome. Excuse me. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeremy Lapidus. Welcome to the Triple Threat Show. I'm out of practice. I just got off a plane like 12 hours ago, and, I got a little bit of a stuffy nose, so I am not feeling 100%, but show must go on. I'm excited. I'm here, as always, with my two friends and co-hosts,
Jane Brislin.
and
Hayden Raymer.
thank you so much for tuning into the Triple Threat Show on YouTube live. Let's get right into it. We've got a couple of huge things coming out of the MLB in the last couple of weeks since we've done our show. If you wanted to get into that, Hayden.
Oh, yeah, right away. Here, 1 second. I'm finishing the Instagram post. Yeah,
All right.
so, no, you're all good. A bunch of stuff happened. I don't know how much you guys have followed kind of what's been happening in the MLB of late. But it's been a little wild. There's been signings galore, trades galore, just kind of everything that you're kind of looking for when it comes to an off season. I feel like last season with the lockout, you didn't really get we didn't get all the fancy, all the big signings, and it wasn't as awesome. This one's a bit more exciting. There's pretty much just one or two big free agents still out there, which we can go into that later if you want. But I kind of wanted to start with kind of what the big story has been these past 3 weeks. And that's Carlos Correa.
Yes, yeah, that's the big story, and that's kind of crazy here. Now, Shane, I don't know how much you know about the whole deal with Carlos Correa, but basic rundown, I think on our last show, we reported, or we talked about his huge contract with the Giants. I think that was before our last show. I don't remember, maybe it wasn't. He signed...
we did mention that contract.
Okay, so yeah, he signed what was it?
It was 13,350.
380 or 350?
350.
13 years, 350 with the Giants. And we all thought that was set in stone. Huge contract for a guy that, was very good at baseball. Again, it was one of those contracts that we had seen throughout this whole offseason with guys like Trey Turner, where you're paying them through their age 40-plus season, but you're locking them in for their career. And that's just something that we've seen this offseason more and more. But that's not the real story. The real story comes in when, about a week later...
9 days, I think, but yeah.
9 days later, I get a little tweet alert that Carlos Correa is actually signing with the New York Mets for 13,380.
No, it was 315.
I thought it was more money.
No, he signed for less. Here I'm pulling up what it was. Carlos Correa, 12,315.
12,315. So that was a little weird.
Before that, there were a lot of rumors that the Giants. That same day, the Giants were supposed to have their introductory press conference with Carlos Correa. They canceled it. There was then a couple of tweets coming out from big insiders saying, the Giants, they saw something in his physical. They didn't say what it was, but they said there was something in his physical they didn't like, and they kind of wanted to go back to the drawing board on that contract, and that's kind of when the Mets swooped in and signed him.
And that story is the bigger deal. the physical issue because the
Well,
Mets
still not
the
done.
Mets also it's still a big deal, like because the Mets said that they saw something in his physical too, but they were willing to work through it.
Well,
Uh,
you see, they have to. Steve Cohen
they?
went on the record and talked about the signing before it was official. So Correa has all of the leverage here. And so he's going to get that contract. It's just how much of it is he going to get? So that's kind of where we're at. It still is not an official contract. There's probably going to be some sort of stipulations saying, with games played or time on the IR or the IL, where, if they go on the IL for a certain amount of time or something with that injury comes up again, the team is still protected. But he's going to get that $315 million, which is a massive, amount of money for Correa, and I'm happy for him.
And I mean, the Mets this offseason have spent so much money.
Mm-hmm. They've spent so much money. I mean, I think the thing with the whole Correa contract and this whole thing is, there's been issues with his physical and all that, but he hasn't gone on the injured list once while being with the Mets. Not being with the Mets. Since he's been in the majors. For this issue. Like, for his lower leg, he hasn't gone on the injured list once. For that. So, I mean, it's a future problem maybe, but it's not a current day problem. And it shouldn't be for a long time. And Carlos Correa is one of the best players in baseball. So, you should pay him.
I saw something out there where the Mets are paying more in luxury taxes than certain teams are paying on their payroll.
Yeah. No. I mean, they, last collective bargaining agreement, something we didn't really talk about, is they introduced this Stephen Towen tax, who's the owner of the Mets, to kind of try to make him not, spend an exorbitant amount of money on these players. And he said, you know what? I'm still going to do it. And he gave, out tons and tons of contracts. He did like a salary dump, or the Mets did a salary dump, and they still ended up eating most of that contract. They only got out of $5 million, and then they signed Danny Mendick to a $1 million deal. After they did that, so it's just they don't stop. They'll probably still move some more salary just because Eduardo Escobar is on their bench right now, and that guy would be a starting either second baseman or third baseman for a lot of big league clubs. So, I don't know, though.
Big deal.
Yeah, that team is insane.
So do the Mets just have an owner who's just willing to pay the
Yeah.
luxury tax?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's paying, with luxury tax, about $450 million
Damn.
this year for the players and then all that. And it's not, the luxury tax goes to good things. So, I'm not mad about it.
And they didn't even get Jacob deGrom.
They didn't get Jacob deGrom, no.
They're paying all this, and sure they went out and they got Verlander, but they didn't.
And they got Verlander, they got Senga, they got Carlos Correa, they got so many players.
They didn't get deGrom though. That's something
Still
that I
gotta
was a
go
little.
all in free agency.
They brought back Brandon Nimmo. They got Omar Narvaez.
So
Yeah,
where do you
well,
think this puts the Mets in terms of
Teams?
in their division?
If this Correa deal finalizes and they have Carlos Correa on the roster, this is the best team in baseball. I think this is one of the best teams in baseball we've ever seen. I think this is 2020 Dodgers good.
I think they're on the same level that they were last year.
DeGrom wasn't healthy. I think Jose Quintana is a really good signing. You essentially put their number 5 starter last year down to AAA. And they added Carlos Correa. Carlos Correa is the starting third baseman for the Mets.
third base. Who's
Third
playing shorts?
Francisco Lindor,
Right.
one of the best shortstops defensively, and like a really good offensive shortstop in baseball. Like it's just this team's not fair. Verlander's gonna pitch until he was one of the best. He was like the best pitcher in baseball last year. At age 39, so like I don't know, man. I don't know how you can't say this team is the same place they were last year.
It's because, they... I don't know. It's the Mets. They'll do something.
The Mets gonna Met.
They're always gonna Met.
I mean, they brought back, like, they traded for Brooks Raley, who is, he's pretty solid. They brought in a bunch of good relievers. Their bench literally has, like, honestly, like, two of those guys are, like, starters on most teams. Luis Guillorme and Eduardo Escobar are, like, guys who probably start on a lot of teams. So it's just... I mean, they have Mark Canha hitting in the 8-hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mark Canha would hit, like that's 2 lineup spots below where he would be on most teams. I don't know, man. It's just... The Mets aren't fair. I mean, the Mets and the Braves aren't fair. Like, the Mets just spend a lot of money, and the Braves just lock everybody up for cheap. It's just, like, polar opposites, but it both ways. They're just not fair.
Yeah, no, it's not fair. You're right.
I mean, they just locked up Sean Murphy, who's a top 3 catcher in baseball, to, like, pennies. Like, a 6-year, $73 million contract for, like, a top 3 catcher in baseball.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. I mean, I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, no, it's money. That's what it is.
It's money.
They pay people.
Who? The
They
Mets?
sure do.
Yeah, the Mets.
Yeah, no, I mean, more power to him. He promised the city of New York a ring, and he's going to deliver. Because, I mean, this Mets
He's
team,
gonna find a way to buy one afterwards.
the Mets don't have a single hole on their roster.
It's tough to do.
Like,
You don't think the Phillies stand a chance either?
the Phillies are really good, but, I mean, my thing with the Phillies is they're going to be good when it comes to the postseason. When the opening day, they're missing Bryce Harper. Which, like, that's a big loss. Nick Castellanos was good in the playoffs last year. I don't know if he was going to, he was not good offensively at all last year during the regular season, which, kind of want a guy who you paid, like, $120 million to be kind of good. So he needs to take a step up. Trey Turner's a good ad for them, like a really good ad. Shortstop's been an issue for them for a long time. And I like that rotation. I think that's a really good rotation. Bullpen, if they can, coax whatever gas Kimbrel has left, who, he's a borderline Hall of Fame reliever. If he can, one last time be good, I think this Phillies team is kind of scary.
But still, it's like the Mets. It's their championship.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think there are a lot of really good baseball teams this year. I think, like, there's a lot of teams where I look at them and I'm like, this team could win, like, they could go above 500. And I think there are a lot of those teams right now. So I think I think this is going to be a really good season. I think there's probably, like, there's a lot of teams who improved within the margins where they're going to become, they're going to go and win a couple more games than they did last year. And a lot of teams, like, I think the Dodgers took a massive step back. I think that AL West, or not the AL West, the NL West. I think it's the Padres to lose right now. But I think the Rockies. A lot of those teams can kind of chip at them a little bit, and I think it could be an exciting division. I think the AL East is a scary division, especially with the Orioles, what they did last year. And now you're getting a full year out of a lot of these prospects, and see kind of, it's a sink or swim year for these guys. I think what other team? I think the Pirates, they have a few more prospects coming up. I think they could be pretty fun. I think they're going to be better than they were last year. So, I don't know. I think the Nats are going to still suck, though. So, there's that. They got that going for them.
If one thing stays the same.
One thing stays the same. The Nats are going to lose 100 games. I don't think the Marlins improved enough. I think they're going to probably lose. I think they're going to lose a lot of games this year. I don't think Gene Segura is enough for that team, but what do I know?
Bat is what they need. They needed a bat.
They needed a bat. I mean, I think he's a good signing. I think they still need more. I think, I don't think they need more. I think they need bounce back years. I think Jorge Soler and Avisail Garcia had really bad years last year. Those are really good baseball players. If they can, be good, I think you got yourself a good team. But if they're what they were last year, they're gonna not be a good team. I think a lot rides on those guys' shoulders.
So where are they playing Segura?
Probably shortstop. You already have.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait.
I know they have Jazz Chisholm at
The
second.
Jazz second. He's probably third. Yeah, because they have Miguel Rojas. They just DFA'd. Or they not? They non-tendered Brian Anderson. Let me see where Fangraphs has him projected. I forget about Miggy Rojas, man. He's good, but he's not top of your mind good yet. Third base is where they have him projected.
Can Gene Segura even play shortstop, regardless of Rojas? At his age, can he still play a good shortstop?
I think he can play a fine enough shortstop. I think he's I think I'd rather have Gene Segura play shortstop than Gio Urshela, which the Angels are kind of counting on him to do. The Angels also improved a ton. I really like this Angels team.
The Angels went out and they got pitching, which has always been their issue. They got some solid pitchers.
Yeah.
Are we finally gonna see Shohei and Trout in the playoffs again?
I won't go that far.
Okay.
The Angels.
Well, you know what, Jeremy, I will ask you. Who do you think? Obviously, the A's are the worst team in that division, right? I think that's a no-doubter. The Athletics are the worst team in that division. Who is the second? Who is the second worst team in the division?
The AL West.
In the AL West, you have the Houston Astros, the Seattle Mariners, the Angels, and the Rangers.
See, I really like what the Angels and the Rangers did this year. I really like what both of them did.
Yep.
But are they better than two playoff teams?
So here's the thing: the Astros, clearly not the worst, right? The Astros are the best.
Yeah.
The Mariners and the A's, I kind of see on similar level. The Mariners have a more cohesive team, right? They have a team that has been winning the last couple years and has a really, really good really good young players, But the Angels, what they have is Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani.
Mm-hmm.
Along with the pitching depth they just went and signed this offseason, which has really been the big weakness. And, if Anthony Rendon can have a healthy season at third base, that could be a really good team, And I just like what the Rangers did this offseason, too. It's between those three, I think I'd still lean the Rangers, just because, they don't have the true star power yet. I know they got DeGrom, but they don't have the true star power on offense.
I mean, they have Corey Seager and Marcus Semien.
I know, but it's not the same,
Okay. I agree with you. I think they are the worst team in that division. But I think to say they don't have star power, I just don't think their lineup's as deep as the other teams. I think that really is the issue. I also don't like their pitching depth. You're asking DeGrom to be the guy there. John Gray's solid. Martin Perez just put up the best year of his career, at age 33. So we'll see what that is. But I mean, you're asking these guys to be the best. I think you're asking a lot out of this pitching staff, and I just don't think that they're the guys. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense.
It makes sense.
I just don't like their depth, and depth matters in a 162 game season.
Yes, absolutely. It does matter a lot. You're right. Excuse me.
No, you're all good.
Yeah, no,
I
it's
heard the Twins didn't really do that much in the offseason. Besides, they signed the catcher, but other than that, they really didn't.
I mean, they upgraded. They added Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo's pretty good. Joey Gallo's pretty good at baseball. I'm trying to remember who else they added. You said they added a catcher. Christian Vasquez. Yes. And then, they traded for Kyle Farmer, who's not Carlos Correa, but he's solid. I think, other than that, though, they're kind of rolling out that same roster that they did last year. I'm looking. Yeah. That's pretty much the same roster they had last year.
Yeah, it's just you lose Carlos Correa, and the season, they started off high, and then they kind of fell off because I think the numbers finally caught up with them, and Byron Buxton got hurt, so...
Yeah,
at the end of the season, they would go so.
It's just they don't have an ace. They have an ace. I think that team looks a lot better, but they don't have an ace.
Go out and get the guy from the Reds.
Which one? They have two of the Reds starting pitchers, that big three. They have Tyler Mahle and they have Sonny Gray.
I don't remember who I'm talking about, but I thought they got an ace from the Reds. They didn't get Luis. I know they didn't get the guy the Mariners got, but
yeah.
I thought they still got solid pitchers.
It's don't get me wrong. They have 4 mid-rotation guys, if that makes sense.
They have 3 number 2 guys on their pitching staff. It's
Exactly. But that's kind of what sets them apart from the contenders, in my opinion. You look at the good teams, the great teams in baseball, right? And they all have the guy, right? And I just don't think they have the guy. I think they have a lot of really good offensive weapons. Andres Polanco is one of the best second basemen, offensive second baseman in baseball. This guy gets on base, and he's great at it, and he hits for good power. They have Byron Buxton. Not sure if you heard of him. Pretty good at baseball. When healthy. They have Luis Urias, who's one of the greatest contact hitters in the sport. He's showing that you can still hit for contact and be a good, productive baseball player, especially at first base. Wild stuff. Jose Miranda is really good. They have Royce Lewis, who's coming up soon. He's just hurt. And so we're seeing, is he still the same guy? He's coming back from an ACL tear. So is he going to be the same guy he was before the injury? Or if he's still going to be good post-injury? But they have a good offensive unit. It's just they don't have the guy on that pitching staff.
Yeah, you know what? That division's a good division too. No.
Yeah.
It's not. I think the White Sox win that division this year. I know.
Because who won that division last?
The Guardians.
Guardians, yeah.
Who just signed Josh Bell?
I know you gave me that look, and that's exactly what I thought you'd give me.
As you should, because you're just you spin off bad takes here, Jeremy. Come on.
I don't. I really don't. The White Sox are going to win that division.
Why?
That pitching staff combined with the lineup they have. You have a healthy Eloy Jimenez. You put that with Luis Robert, Tim Anderson, Moncada, I know he's a little older now, but
Coming off a down year, but he can bounce back, yeah.
you still have Yasmani Grandal, who's also coming off a down year. But I think the main issue
Down
there.
year.
I know. But that's a really, really good pitching staff. You know, you got Giolito, Lin, and Cease. Again, that's like 2, maybe even
Kopech.
3. Kopech.
Kopech, I think he's injured. There's that lefty who got Tommy John. I'm blanking on his name. Through like an effortless
I think the issue there was
crochet.
manager. Was the manager.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I think that team. I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen it recently. You know, when they have it all together, they're a scary team to go against. You know, you talk about playoff success. We know that what that really means is having the pitching to carry you through. We saw it with the Phillies, we saw it with the Nats, we saw it with the Astros. It's really, you need those, and you said it earlier today, you know, you need those pitchers that can carry you, those 1-2 guys that can carry you through the playoffs, through the postseason. And the White Sox have 2 or 3, maybe even 4. Definitely, I wouldn't go as far as 4, but 2 or 3 guys that can really carry them through that postseason. All they have to do is make it, and I think that team is good enough if they stay healthy to do that.
All right. So while I agree with you, right? I think they have the pitching. I think all the points you made are correct. I just think the Guardians do it better. They have the manager.
Yes.
Tito Francona is like one of the most respected managers in all of baseball. They have the lineup. You're talking about Steven Kwan, Ahmed Rosario. Andres Jimenez just put up a really great year. The guy that goes without mentioning, Jose Ramirez, and they added Josh Bell, right? A really good offensive unit. You got Shane Bieber, Cal Quantrill, Tristan McKenzie, and you got like 3 top 100 pitchers coming in that can be in the big leagues this year, you know? And they already have, Zach Plesac and Savali in that rotation who are, they're good pitchers. They're not like aces or anything, but if those are the back to your last 2 starters, you're doing something right. I think the thing that you are underestimating is the impact of Jose Abreu on that White Sox lineup. He is on and off the field. He is the leader. He is the spark plug. He is the guy who gets it going. And that's a massive loss, both on and off the field for the White Sox.
But they have plenty of guys in the dugout that lead the team. You know, that team when their energy wasn't being shut down was so much fun to watch, and they really enjoyed playing. You know, and they have guys, Luis Robert especially, who can bring that energy to the bullpen, or not to the dugout. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jose Abreu was massive to that team. He was, the Mr. Consistent. He was the guy that was in the lineup 162 games. He was, a crucial cog in that team, and I think they didn't do enough to replace him. I mean, yeah, you're moving guys around, so your defense is going to improve. You're not having to play Andrew Vaughn out in the outfield anymore, which I'm sure he's happy about. He is quite literally, this is, the day that he got signed by the Astros was the best day of his life. Outside of, the day he got drafted. But, that's, Jose Abreu is really good at baseball, man. The guy's an MVP.
He's also, 35.
Okay, and? The Houston Astros just signed him.
I know.
That team is terrifying now. Talking about how deep the Mets lineup is. They added Jose Abreu.
It didn't matter if they signed him or not. They were terrifying either way.
Yeah, now imagine how they are now. I think that them and the Mets are the best lineup in baseball. So. I don't know. You have anything else? Any other thoughts on that general topic, Jeremy?
Nah, not really.
Not really.
No,
Can I rant?
not really. It was a good rant.
No. Can I rant here, real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I don't know if you guys saw. The Diamondbacks and the Blue Jays made a trade, right?
Oh yes, I did see that.
The Diamondbacks traded away Dalton Varsho. Best outfield defender in baseball last year. And he plays catcher.
Yeah.
He plays like he's not a great catcher. He's not a bad catcher. He's like just an average catcher who plays the best center field in all baseball last year. Which, pretty valuable. The Blue Jays traded away a top 5 prospect in baseball, who's a catcher, and they traded away kind of just a regular, just an average to slightly above average MLB player in Lourdes Gurriel Jr.,
Yeah.
Now, who do you think I hate this trade for?
Diamondbacks, because I don't know.
No.
That guy's really good.
No. I hate it for the Blue Jays.
Why is that?
Because they don't have an outfield. I mean, they have an outfield. It's just now their outfield is George Springer, Kevin Kiermaier, and Dalton Varsho, right?
Okay, that's fine. Sounds like a solid outfield to me.
It's just they're all center fielders, Jeremy. George
So
Springer
what?
can hit. Kevin Kiermaier can't hit. Dalton Varsho is like a league average bat. As soon as you put him in a corner, he loses like all of his value. So are you gonna put Kevin Kiermaier, who can't hit, in left field?
Sure.
Okay. I don't like it I think the Diamondbacks just got.
I think that is one of the better defensive outfields. If
Oh
you
yeah,
have
for
three
sure.
If you have 3 center fielders out in the outfield, that is incredible.
Uh-huh.
That's it's not like you're having to put a corner outfielder in center field. You have your pick of the litter of which one you want.
Mm-hmm.
And if you truly, and again, they also have Alejandro Kirk, and they still have Danny Jansen, yeah.
Yep.
That's a really good catcher core if you add Dalton Varsho to that, and one of those guys is going to DH every day too, along with center field, so you can have all 3 of them in your lineup at
Definitely
once.
will.
That is, it's not like they're sacrificing at any position. They're rich at catcher. They have that guy, top 5 prospect at catcher, but they didn't need him. They have more than enough there. So, and I mean, they're improving on defense. Sure, maybe they're losing a little bit offensively, but offensively is not where they were weak either. What they needed help with was field.
Yeah. I think the Kevin Kiermaier signing filled that hole in the roster, right? And I just think you could have gotten a different player for Gabriel Moreno and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. And I think that package is a really good package, and I think you can get a better player. I mean, there's players on the Diamondbacks, outfielders on the Diamondbacks I would have rather traded for. I think Dalton Varsho, if I was the Blue Jays. I think Dalton Varsho is a really good player. I think with the way that lineup is constructed, or that roster is constructed, I don't think that's the right move for the Jays, if that makes sense.
I thought it was pretty even, honestly.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, a lot of people, I think everyone on this planet disagreed with me. Quite literally everyone I've talked to is like, Hayden, no, it's fine. Or everyone, generally, all the talking heads that I've watched are, loving this trade for the Blue Jays. But something doesn't sit right with me with it. And, that's what it is they're just, I just don't like the way the roster is constructed now.
It's not like they're, because they still have really solid bats, and that defense now, aside from the middle infield, is one of the best in baseball.
Yeah.
So,
I
know you like defense a lot, and that's huge.
Yeah, no, I
Uh,
mean, I do. I think that defense is really good, and don't get me wrong, I think it's really good. I think, I mean, and they had one of the best lineups in baseball last year, right? And that's how they got to the playoffs. Was they're an underperforming pitching staff, and just a really good lineup, especially coming from a down year from Vlad Jr. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, something just rubs me wrong about this trade, and it's been bothering me ever since it was done. So I just need to get my little rant out. So then that way we can clip this, and then like in a year when the Blue Jays are just falling apart, I can just be like, I told you guys so, and then I look like a genius, and then we go viral, and then we're all millionaires.
of course, of course. But with
You always gotta
our,
trust your gut.
of course, you have to.
You got it.
Yeah,
can't
but
remember.
I mean, there's still more to come in baseball. It's still only December,
Mm-hmm.
so the season doesn't start. I mean, catchers and pitchers don't report for like what, another 2 months? February?
A month and a half. It's usually
yeah.
mid-February, so like a month and a half.
There's plenty of time for more stuff to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we still have to wait for Correa to finalize his deal. There's still a bunch of like solid guys. There's just no more like superstars on the market for like on the free agent market. Brian Anderson, Trey Mancini, Johnny Cueto, Elvis Andrus. They're all like solid players that you want on your roster. It's just it's not Carlos Correa or Jacob deGrom anymore.
Mm-hmm. All right, Shane, you want to get into some hockey?
Oh, I just didn't know if Hayden wanted to talk about Hall of Fame voting, or we can get to that.
That's all good. We can do it next
Mhm.
week.
All right. So yeah, we can start talking about hockey.
What
First
you got
off,
for us?
as Caps fans, congratulations to Ovi for being second most all time in goals. So much for him. Long overdue.
I love the way that this is happening. With all the empty net stuff, where they're just refusing to score when he's on the ice unless it's him. I think that's hilarious.
I mean, you've got to when you're that close to a major record. Like, you don't care how you do it. It's just that you do it.
I just think it's funny. They have all these like Kuznetsov wide open shot. He's like, no, Ovi, come here. I need
Gotta
you.
give it to
I
him.
need you to score this goal.
So, and then the Capitals in general, they've been on a hot streak, and they've been carried by goaltending. Like,
Yeah,
I know,
but not Darcy Kemper.
no, Darcy Kemper's been. He just got a shutout last night. He has a .920 save percentage on the season. Darcy Kemper's playing really well, and yes, the
Yeah.
backup Charlie Lindgren is also
He's been playing better. He's been playing better.
Oh God, he's never gonna give Darcy.
I
Kemper
don't like Darcy Kemper. I don't care how well he's playing. I think Lindgren is better. I think he's just straight up a better goalie.
It's just like, yeah, Lindgren has been really hot in the stretch, but after Darcy Kemper just got a shutout against the Rangers, I feel like you got to put a little bit more respect on Kemper's name.
He's having a good season.
Yes.
He
For
didn't
now.
deserve a 6-year, however many money
5
contract
years
we gave
at
him.
5.5, I believe, is the contract.
He didn't deserve that. We didn't
He won a
need to give
Stanley
him
Cup.
that.
He
So
won a
what?
Stanley Cup.
He didn't win a Stanley Cup. His team won a Stanley Cup. He might not have even been the best goaltender in that Stanley Cup run.
Well, yeah, because you were going against Vasilevsky, so
No, on his own team.
Franco, yeah, he had a
Yeah. He might not have even been the best goaltender on his own team.
Anyway, we've had this discussion thousands of times, but the Capitals, I'm just getting back on track. Capitals are on a hot streak. They are back in the playoff race. They are in a wild card spot right now. They have 2 games. They have played 2 more games than the other Metro teams. So they're still in the mix with New Jersey, Pittsburgh, the Rangers, the Islanders. They're all in that fight for the Metro playoff spots. And then the Capitals just cannot survive these injuries because John Carlson, it looks like he's out long term after blocking a slap shot to the face. Oshie was back very briefly. He's hurt again. Wilson and Backstrom, we don't know when they're coming back. So it's just, for now, they're getting carried by goaltending. And they are on a hot streak. Do you think this is going to be sustainable? Do we think the Caps are going to make
Yeah, I like to think so. I think every team in the NHL is carried by goaltending, except for the Avalanche.
Well, the Avalanche is also really injured right
Yeah,
now. But Gordiev has been decent so far.
yeah, he's been good enough. You know, I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they just have Ovechkin, and they'll make the playoffs because they're all rallying around him. And when you can all rally around a common cause, even if your team isn't the most talented, you generally eke out a couple more wins. You know, they'll get healthier as the season goes on. You had that brief streak that a couple weeks ago where everyone was healthy for about 2 games.
We were all happy Oshie was back, and then he gets an arm injury. It's like,
And Backstrom and Wilson are both skating again. You know, we don't know that doesn't really mean anything, but they're both skating again.
yeah.
So
It means they're making progress. We just don't know. Who knows?
just because they're skating doesn't mean they'll be back in the next month. Is what I mean by that. You know, that doesn't really mean anything other than, oh my goodness, they're moving. You know, I think they'll make the playoffs. They'll be the 8th seed, but I think they'll make it.
Just barely squeaking in there.
Absolutely.
And then another surprise is New Jersey. New Jersey's kind of been losing a lot of games lately. They were like really hot. They were first place in the league, and then these past few games they've been losing a bunch. They've had a tough schedule because they were losing to teams like Boston, who's currently first place. They lost a game to Dallas. They lost a game to the Islanders and the Rangers. So
I mean, it's been a bunch of close games, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's just like they've lost a bunch in a row, and their playoff lead is slowly dwindling. And for a team that doesn't have the playoff success or have made the playoffs, they're just coming out of a rebuild and they're starting to compete. Do you think that young core is gonna hold itself together to survive and make a playoff spot, or do you think they're gonna continue to like fall apart and just barely miss it?
John Gibson is calling. No. Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I mean, it's always tough to hold expectations at the same level when you go on a franchise record win streak in the beginning of your season. You know? What was it, like 20 games? It was something crazy.
It was probably around like the 10 to 15 mark.
It was something crazy.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was like tied for franchise record or beat the franchise record for most wins in a row. And when you do that, you know, it's a young team. There's a lot of hype around them, and it's a young team because of what they did earlier. And it might have gotten to them, but I think they'll for lack of a better term, they'll sober up. Right? You know, they're coming off the high of winning 15 straight games, and now they're in the low of losing 3 or 4 in a row, you know, against good teams, and that'll, you know, snap them out of whatever it is. I think they'll return to average hockey, and I think with what they've done in the beginning of the season, that'll be enough to get them a spot.
Do you think they're going to finish top 3, or do you think in the Metro, or do you think they're going to go off the spot?
What's their lead right now?
I know last time I looked, they were kind of this. It's like the Penguins, the Capitals, and the Rangers, all and New Jersey all had close to. They're all within like 2 points.
I'm looking.
They've got
Capitals
46
play
points. They've got 46 points, and they're second. They're 2 points up on the Penguins and Caps. 3 on the Rangers. All right.
4 on the Islanders.
4 on the Islanders. Yeah.
So it's really close.
Yeah. Those teams are all really close to each other compared to, like, you know, it's closer than, you know, the Hurricanes are to the Devils.
Oh, the Hurricanes have that division.
Yeah, they have
I
a
would be
6
shocked.
point lead already. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the Bruins, but pretty good.
Bruins
lead.
are so good this year.
They're so good.
Like, they only have 4 regulation losses.
Yeah.
That team is just stacked.
Yeah, I think they'll hold on to the 3 spot. I think the Rangers will jump them, along with the Penguins and the Caps.
They've also played 2 fewer games than
Yeah.
the Caps. The Caps have played 2 more games than them. So that does help a little bit, assuming there's some sort of trend.
I generally
you know?
like to add like 1 point per game that they have played less than the other
Yeah.
team. Because you can't guarantee a win and you can't guarantee a loss. So I
And they could
generally
make it
just
to overtime, which is a point.
I just generally in my mind like to add a point because that's pretty level
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So we'll say they've got 2 more points than the Caps.
And then,
Yeah.
of course, we love to talk about VTech. I think VTech was exactly the goalie Jersey needed because their biggest weakness during this rebuild has been consistent goaltending. And VTech may not be the best goalie, but he is consistently average. And
Yep.
for a team like that, that's all you need.
I mean, looking at the numbers, he's literally like pretty much he's like .003 goals above like average.
Yeah.
So like he's average.
Because I think they went through like 5 goalies last year just because they were injuries and they were super inconsistent, which is going to happen for a rebuilding team. But it's just nice to see that they finally found a guy who can just keep them above water.
That's all VTech is. That's all he was supposed to be. No, he
And
wasn't.
then in the West, everything is kind of... There's not as many surprises. It's like you're seeing a lot of the same playoff teams you saw last year. The Kraken are kind of falling off a bit. They're not as hot as they were at the beginning of the season. And the biggest concern is the Oilers, who are outside of a playoff spot right now. And I know it's still pretty close, but it's surprising to see
They're
the
tied
team
with
with
the
the
Kraken.
best player in the league not in a playoff spot right
That tends to happen in hockey, I've noticed. Especially with the Oilers.
now. There's
Wanna know why? Because unless the best player in the league is a goalie, doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
Because you cannot control a whole game as a forward or as a defenseman. You can only do so much. And so much is a lot. You can score a goal per game. You could score 2 goals per game. You're not doing that, but you could score a goal per game. And if you have goaltending that is bad, it's not going to matter. Because they're going to let in 3 or 4 goals per game. And you cannot promise 3 or 4 goals per game as a forward, no matter how good you are.
Because their goaltending has been awful all year. Their team defense has been bad. And it's just they're kind of a middling team at this point. And I think that Evander Kane injury really hurts them a lot because I think he added that extra depth and goal scoring that team needed to outscore their opponents. And without him, it's just they're struggling to find offense outside of McDavid and Drysdale. And then Jack Campbell has pretty much got his job taken away by the young, I think his last name's Stuart Skinner.
Mm.
So he's kind of had his job taken away, but yet that goaltending and defense hasn't been.
Jack Campbell is some doo-doo. Some bad. He's real
And he's
bad.
there for another 5
Terrible.
years.
That was a dumb contract. Could have seen that coming.
Yeah, who would have thought? I mean, you've been right on one of your goalie takes so far that Jack Campbell is going to be horrible.
Dude, if they gave Samsonov some playing time, he'd win the Vezina. Okay? I stand by it.
Matt
if they
Murray's playing
gave
pretty
it-
well, though.
I know.
And the Leafs
and
are
that's,
just playing really well.
Samsonov started off the season like
Really
literally one of the best goalies in the league. And then he got hurt, and then they're deciding not to play him again. Which is dumb, because he was very much in contention for best goalie in the league if he didn't get hurt. Okay?
And then Matt Murray's playing well too.
Matt Murray will fall off at some point. He's not that guy. Good story. I'm glad he's playing well again, but he's not that guy.
So the reason why I bring up the Oilers, he has 3 years left on his contract. McDavid does. So, and this team they just don't have the depth to be a contender, in my opinion. So, do you think McDavid leaves the Oilers before this contract? Do you think he gets traded away?
They've got a year and a half before he makes up his mind. They've got a year and a half, maybe 2, if he's like really loyal to the city. They've got 2 years to make a contender. And if they can't do that, then he's out. I think he'll stay the contract because he's not getting traded, unless some crazy haul, which would happen.
Honestly, I don't think any team would be able to give up. Like,
the only team I see with the ability to trade for him would be the Leafs, and that would involve Austin Matthews, which they wouldn't do.
So I think the best decision, it's a wait and see, guys. I think as soon as Evander Kane comes back, I think you'll start to see that team start to take off a little bit because they'll just have that extra goal scoring punch. And as I saw other people discuss, the Los Angeles Kings have the prospects and the salary cap to make it happen.
They wouldn't trade to the Kings
in the near future, which would be funny because the Oilers would lose another franchise great to the Los Angeles Kings.
Shane, they wouldn't trade him to the Kings. That's a division rival right there.
I'm just saying that's just a hypothetical. And then Buffalo also has a huge amount of prospects and the salary cap to make
You don't want to play for us? Let's send you to Buffalo.
that would, oh my god, that would be so bad. That's terrible.
So those were the 2 teams that had the cap and the assets to make it happen.
It has to go to one team in those scenarios. It's the Buffaloes, Sabres. He's not going to the Kings on a trade. He might sign there. Not on a trade. It won't get burned again.
One is, how many more years does he have on his contract?
3 years. I think
is that
3
including
years
this year?
after this contract.
Oh, look.
Is 3 years including the year we're currently sitting in?
I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. I just heard 3 years. I want to say
it probably
3
isn't
years
that.
after this contract.
They probably said 3 years remaining, so it probably isn't including this year.
He had a 8-year contract that I love the way they do this, by the way. Where
Are you on cap friendly?
Just go to Hockey Reference.
Well, I'm on Spot Track. He becomes a free agent after the 25-26 season. So 3 years after this one.
Yeah.
It's funny the way they break it down because it's a $1 million base salary, right? But then he receives an $11 million signing bonus for this year.
It's a lot of the Canadian teams do that because of taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the signing bonus gets taxed less than the salary.
Yeah. Which is funny. So then he also has a no movement clause.
Yeah, but that pretty much means that if he has to approve where he's going with the country.
Yeah, so he's not going to Buffalo.
I just think it would be funny as hell if
He's not going to Buffalo. Why would he want to play for
the Oilers
Buffalo?
traded him to the Kings, because that would be the second time they trade one of the all-time best players to the Los Angeles Kings.
They wouldn't do that.
It would just be very, very ironic. But you could get quite the haul for it.
Oh,
Yeah, no, for sure. But it's like that's worse than trading Juan Soto.
Because I think you can trade. hypothetically, let's say you throw in like a few first-round picks, you throw in second overall pick Quentin Byfield, you throw in who was a fifth overall pick a few years ago, Alex Turcotte, Arthur Kaliev, maybe Brandon Clark if you're just throwing the entire kitchen sink. So that's like, I mean, that's like, you know, that's something. They have the assets to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean,
And then
hockey's
the World
kinda
Juniors
wild.
is also happening right now too.
Yeah, didn't like a Vegas goalie, wasn't he like doing great right now?
Yeah, I think it was, who was the prospect?
He's in Vegas' system. I can't remember his name.
It was Sweden, I believe. I think Sweden's goalie got a shutout against Germany in a 1-0 win.
Yeah. He had like
And
a
then-
28 save or 20 something. I think it was 28 or 26.
And
Save.
there's been a lot of upsets.
I mean,
So
when you get a 26 save out, like shutout, like it's not really an upset. That's just getting goal.
No, I'm talking about in other games. Like
Okay.
Sweden beating Germany, that's to be expected. But in the first game of the tournament, Canada lost to the Czech Republic. Which is like, this team was supposed to be one of the best Canada teams ever, and right off the bat they lose to Czechia.
They're
Which
pretty
was a
good,
huge
man.
shock.
Czechia is pretty good, man.
Pretty good.
Oh yeah. And then the U.S. just lost to Slovakia.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's usually like the big four are USA, Canada, Finland, and Sweden. And then the tier below is like Slovakia, Czech Republic, Germany. And then they're like upsetting. And then the Switzerland too. Switzerland beat Finland in overtime. And so the US could potentially like not make it to the medaling round if they lose to Switzerland. I believe the game's 2-2.
Check it out.
So like if US doesn't make it, that would be shocking. And then it would be fun to see that Slovakia team win because they have some pretty big prospects on their team, and they're like an up and coming country when in terms of hockey. It'll be fun to like see, you know, Switzerland and all those countries you don't really see make it that far, like go on some deep runs.
Yeah. Always want the. It's always fun to see the underdogs. You know. The upsets and that kind of stuff. I mean, that's I think what made like the World Cup so fun this year, was you saw like a lot of teams kind of like make deep runs when they weren't really supposed to.
But I think maybe Canada snapped out of it because they demolished Germany 11-2.
It's a pretty big win.
Yeah, and then I think Connor Bedard, he's just showing why he's going to be the first overall pick this upcoming draft. Like, he is insane. He's just got incredible vision, an insane shot. The projected second overall pick is on Team Canada too, Adam Fantilli. But Connor Bedard is just running away with first overall pick. It's like, you're crazy if you pass him in the first round.
Who
He looks like another generation prospect.
has the first overall pick?
We don't know because
Oh, that's right. Okay.
But Chicago, I think, is last place right now, and my only hope is that he gets drafted anywhere but Chicago.
Yeah.
Because I don't want this guy in my division.
Uh-huh.
And fuck the Hawks. Fuck the Hawks.
Baseball throws me off because they do their draft in the middle of the season.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, you know, it's July and, you know, they do the draft. And so, like, it's, you know, the year that just passed, the season, like, what they did or how they did last year determines what they do in the draft in the middle of the year. It throws me off for all the other sports.
But I think it's like Chicago, Arizona. Who else sucks?
It's
The
Chicago, Anaheim, Columbus, San Jose, Philly, and then Arizona.
Imagine the Ducks, Connor Bedard.
He would be so good on the Ducks. Because he's really good buddies with Mason McTavish on the Ducks. So seeing those guys reunited would be so cool.
Yeah, so the Ducks have a 13% chance as of right now, and the Blackhawks have a 25% chance.
Anybody but the Blackhawks, I will cry if the Blackhawks get first overall. Because I don't want to see Bedard going against the Wild every season and just scoring.
You should fudge the results then.
Oh, I will infiltrate NHL headquarters and make sure the Blackhawks don't win. But I'm really excited for this draft. This draft has been really hyped up, and the top prospects are supposed to be really good. It lacks defense, though. There's not a lot of defensemen, but it's very top-heavy defense.
I mean, that's every draft has its thing, you know.
Yeah.
I think the upcoming MLB draft has like the deepest like college position player pool, and like highest upside college position player pool that it's ever had. Or not ever had, but had in the past 10 years or something like that. So every draft has its weird quirk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be.
Shane, do you have anything else you want to talk about? Because I have a question for you.
No, I kind of that's wraps up my hockey discussion.
Got it. I don't understand hockey scheduling.
Yeah.
Like it seems wild to me that you have a team that's only played 33 games, and you have other teams that have played 38. Like,
Well, I think some of that has to do with rescheduling, because I know Nashville had to cancel a bunch of games because their arena flooded. So that may be the issue. And then there's been a few weather cancellations too. Buffalo with their snowstorm, they had to cancel a few games.
I don't know. It's just weather cancellations in hockey. Like you play in a indoor
Only
stadium.
inside, you know? It doesn't.
It throws me off when you say that. But I guess it does make sense. Yes. No, I see like the Kraken with like 33 games, and then like the Golden Knights, the Kings have 38, the Flames have 37, the Oilers have 36. The only other team with less than 36 is the Canucks, who have 34. They just, and then half the Central Division have only played 33 games. Like, just doesn't make sense.
It'll balance out at some point.
I mean, I know it'll balance out at some point, but it's like that's gonna be annoying as a fan, when it's just like, oh man, like I've watched like 5 less games than like a Golden Knights fan.
But
if I was
then
a Kraken
it all
fan.
bounces out at later hours.
Then you got 5 more games to watch than Golden Knights, you know?
Oh, that's true. You got me there, Jeremy. You got me there.
Thank you.
I don't know. I wasn't sure if there was like a reason or something, but I guess you answered it.
Well, baseball kind of works like that too a little bit.
A little bit, but I mean, like the off days kind of balance out. I mean, and then there's also rain, which you do have the rain just cancels the whole game, so for most teams.
Do you guys like the NHL outdoor games? I know they have Boston versus the Penguins, I think, New Year's Day.
Yep. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I think
Nice
those
little
kind of
tradition.
events are always fun. Field of Dreams. I think whenever they go to another country, I think those are always fun. It's like a neutral
it's
site
fun
games. They're always weird but fun.
That's pretty much my hockey discussion. Do you want to move it over to football, Jeremy?
I do. There are a couple big pieces of news in football. We'll start in the desert with J.J. Watt, who earlier this week announced that this would be his final season in the NFL. He's retiring at the end of this season. He has tied the record for most defensive players of the year with 3. Tied with Lawrence Taylor and Aaron Donald, 2 of the greatest defensive players of all time. Probably those 2 are are the 2 in contention for greatest defensive player of all time. J.J. Watt absolutely is up there. Outside of what he did on the football field, one of the greatest players, he is an incredible person off the field as well. With all the charities he had with the Texans and also with the Cardinals, he just is an all-around stand-up guy, and would like to applaud his career for what it's been, and wish him well in the next stage, because I'm sure he'll continue to do his philanthropy work and whatever else he has planned. So, congratulations on an incredible career. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on that.
Yeah, he was an incredible player. I remember when Houston used to be relevant, like he was the team. Like he was just so dominant on defense, and then occasionally they would throw him on offense because why the hell not? And he would
Right.
catch a few touchdowns. And he would just like, he was just such a dominant player. Like he was so good, he helped his other teammates get sacks because they were all focused on him.
Right.
And then he
He had-
raised a shit ton of money for after Houston got hit by a hurricane,
Mm-hmm.
and he won the charity award that year. So yeah, it just seems like a
Walter
great guy.
Payton, right?
Walter
Yeah,
Payton,
Walter
yeah.
Payton.
Yeah, no, he's a wonderful person. He almost won an MVP one year, like straight up the MVP in 20 early in his career. 2012. 2012. He had 20 and a half sacks. He almost won the MVP. He was like top 3 in voting, which is insane for a defensive player. You know, think about it nowadays. Who defensively is even gonna come close to MVP award?
As a defensive player,
Yeah, as a defensive player, just
well,
straight up
either
MVP.
would have been Donald or TJ, his brother.
But they've
But
never been
just-
in They've never been in contention for MVP. You know? JJ Watt was a legit finalist for
Mm-hmm.
MVP that year, which is
Well, it's just
incredible.
like they also didn't have to compete against the likes of Mahomes, Josh Allen.
He had to compete against the likes of prime Aaron Rodgers and prime
Yeah.
Tom Brady and prime
Oh, that's
Peyton
true.
Manning. You know,
Yeah.
that's no spring chicken. You know,
That's fair.
never got that
Kind of
saying.
forgot about those guys existing.
I mean, 2 of them are still in the league, Shane. Come on.
Well, I think of them more as like, oh, the old guys who should probably go retiring at some point or wash. And I forgot, oh yeah, they had Hall of Fame careers.
Yeah, and JJ Watt is a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt. Right. 5 years from now, he will be wearing a gold jacket. So, yeah, it's just an incredible career, and good for him. In less fun news, Derek Carr was benched yesterday for Jared Stidham. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of Jared Stidham.
He was on the Patriots, right?
He was on the Patriots, yeah. He was,
They thought he was the next Brady.
he was
whatever
the
reason.
answer so that nobody knew the quarterbacks were the Patriots were drafting Mac Jones in the draft. He was the guy. He not only lost out to Mac Jones, he also lost out to Bailey Zappi, who kind of is the same person as Mac Jones,
And Cam Newton, too.
and Cam Newton too. But it's Cam Newton. Anyway, he gets a chance. I don't understand this move. I know they're eliminated from the playoffs, right? But Jared Stidham, really? Like,
Carr was injured.
Carr's not hurt. He's fine. They just benched him.
They didn't want
For
him to
the
get hurt.
season or for the next week?
Probably for the season, definitely for next week. I mean, there's only 2 weeks left in the season, so.
Fair enough.
But yeah, they just straight up benched him.
He played awful, though, last week.
He didn't play that bad. He's not. He hasn't had a good season. I'm not gonna say he's had a good season, but the only reason you have Devontae Adams there is because you have Derek Carr.
Yeah.
You know, the only reason, and yeah, this has been his worst season, but I'm not gonna blame it on him. It's been bad.
Really bad.
Coaching the whole year for Vegas has kind of been a disaster.
I mean, and it's imagine it like you see how big of a disaster it's been. They're not even the biggest disaster in their own division. That's, like, terrible.
It is.
Yeah.
So,
Vegas is gonna move on from him? Because I heard there's a bunch of rumors about him getting traded, or
So yeah,
speculation.
he has
Who's
a
gonna
very
trade for him?
team-friendly. No one's gonna trade for him. They're gonna cut him, and then he'll get picked up because they're not gonna
Yeah.
trade for that contract. But his contract is very team-friendly, right? They can very easily get out of it after the season if they want to. Now, I'm not saying they're going to, but there's not a team that's going to trade for him. He's come out and said he wants to be a Raider for life, and he'll retire if he's not on the Raiders. So this could very well. I don't know how, true of a statement that is, but because that kind of stuff's been said before, and it's been a lot. I want to be in this team for life. Whatever. But it happens.
It does.
So he could get cut. Raiders, I understand you're saving a lot of money by moving on from him. But realistically, who are you going to get in this draft? And you also have to think of the consequences, because Davante Adams came out with a statement after he'd been benched and said, he's the whole reason I'm a Raider. So, if he's gone, you also lose one of the best receivers in the entire league in Davante Adams, most likely. He'll request a trade if Derek Carr is gone. And that's going to be a bigger blow than just losing a slightly above average quarterback in Derek Carr. So we'll see how it plays out. But I think there's a high chance he gets cut after this year.
Where do you think he ends up if he does get
Tennessee. I don't know.
cut? I forgot about Tennessee because I was thinking the Colts. There's also Washington. There's those were the first teams that popped into mind. Like who knows what San Francisco's doing at quarterback?
San Francisco,
they're happy.
They're fine. They're happy.
They're happy. They're really happy right now.
They're gonna lose. They've already basically said. They already basically agreed with Jimmy Garoppolo that he's gone after this year. That was before the season started. His contract is done. He's gone. They're like, oh no. But good thing we have Trey Lance. Uh-oh, Trey Lance is hurt. Good thing we still have Jimmy G. Uh-oh, Jimmy G is hurt. Now we have Brock Purdy, who is so much cheaper than Jimmy G and can do the exact same things. So,
I honestly think Brock Purdy is supposed to be in the NFL right now. Like, he's so fun to watch, though. He's not the best.
He's the only quarterback to never lose a game.
Yeah. I love watching the 49ers right now. He is so
It's such a fun team to watch. And that's the thing, right? We've talked about it on this show before, briefly. Kyle Shanahan is a genius, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Shanahan is an offensive genius, and you put him with the weapons that the 49ers have, Deebo, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, and that defense as well. That team is the most talented team in the NFL. And when you have an offensive genius like Kyle Shanahan, anyone could be quarterback in that system and at least go 500. At least.
There's also the Saints and the Panthers who also need quarterbacks.
The Panthers will draft a quarterback, and the Saints are gonna do something weird.
Falcons also need a quarterback.
You got Desmond Ritter. They're gonna ride with him. He's been okay. But we'll see as the offseason goes on. We don't even know if he's gonna get cut. It's just, my cousins are from Tennessee, so they've been telling me how much they want a new quarterback. So that was the first team that popped in my
Tennessee's
head.
the best. How many years does Tannehill? He'll probably get cut.
He won't get cut. No. He's got a couple years left, and that's going to be a lot of dead cap if they cut him. Malik Willis looks like trash, right? So much so that they're actually starting Josh Dobbs this week. After tonight, they're starting Josh Dobbs. Ridiculous.
This is very much the fuck it, why not week for the NFL.
Yeah, and they're also, they're sitting Derrick Henry because this game doesn't matter for them. The only game that matters is next week for the division against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Another fun team to watch right now.
Yeah, no, they're also a fun team to watch. They did just lose their best offensive lineman and a couple defenders, but they're a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
And Trevor Lawrence is finally putting it together, which, good.
Yeah, I think a bunch of like young QBs kind of put it together, and then there's a bunch of who didn't this year. Like it's
There's a bunch of young QBs that put it together, and then there's Zach Wilson.
yeah.
I mean, Fields just kind of found his niche.
I mean, no, I think Fields is going to be good. Like next
Fields
year,
is
he's been
he's
good
a
on the
fun
second
team.
half. He's been like really good the second half. His first like 3 weeks he was terrible, and then he was really good.
Well, they finally was like, all right, this dude can fucking run. Let's have him fucking run.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not what they did. They said, just go play football instead of telling him how to play. Right? They were having him be a pocket passer before.
Which is not
And
what he is.
He can be a pocket passer. We've seen it at Ohio State, but also the legs.
Yeah.
He is so good. And coming out of college, it was 1-2. It was Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and then Justin Fields fell for whatever reason. I don't remember what it was.
Oh, it's because the Jets liked Wilson better for whatever fucking reason.
Oh,
And
the
then-
Jets just loved Wilson, but there was no reason why Trey Lance would have had it.
Yeah. And Trey Lance, for whatever reason, the 49ers liked Trey Lance better than Wilson.
The Bears should be very happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an important lesson in drafting, because there's always going to be quarterbacks that, like, we've seen it multiple times recently, Dak Wilson shoots out from out of nowhere to be the second pick in the draft. Mitch Trubisky shoots up from out of nowhere to be the second pick in the NFL draft. Now,
Don't
There's-
have a second overall pick. That's what we've learned.
Don't draft the quarterback second overall.
Peyton Manning was second overall. He was pretty good.
Ah,
Fuck.
Uh,
Forgot about him.
no, that's old. That's like the old meta.
Yeah.
The developers, they put out a patch note. They nerfed the second overall pick. You can't use it anymore after the Peyton Manning incident.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Well, we keep an eye on that for draft cycle, because there's going to be quarterbacks that pop out of nowhere that people are like, oh my god, he's so good. Look at this throw he did.
Kirk Cousins, he was a 4th round pick. Jalen Hurts was a second. Really should have been first, but he was second.
Jalen Hurts
Dak
fell.
Prescott was a
We,
4th.
we asked that question earlier, and I did some research into it on our last show. We asked why Jalen Hurts fell. He had torn his ACL before the draft.
Oh.
That'll
And
do
I
it.
had forgotten about that, but that is why he fell out of the first round. So there was a reason behind it.
Eagles are happy for it.
Yes, the Eagles are very happy for it. But I remember that question, so I looked it up actually after our show. But yes, that's why he fell. And of course, Tom Brady was a 6th round pick. So, it's a shot in the dark. Anyway,
Drafting's just an absolute crapshoot.
it always is. But I think it's time for power rankings, top 5.
Top
Yeah.
5. I have a question before we go.
Yes.
Is just talked about him. Is Jalen Hurts healthy? I can't remember. I've seen like he's half healthy.
He practiced for the first time in about a week today,
Mhm.
but I don't know. We'll see.
How much are we considering that in our power rankings?
However much you want to consider that, man. It's your
Yeah.
power ranking.
No. Well, okay. I don't like that answer, Jeremy, but thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Alright, I've got it. I'm ready.
Alright. Number 5 in my NFL power rankings are the Bengals. Bengals are my fifth team. I think I have the same top five as I did weeks before. The Bengals are five. I just think they're the worst in that tier. But still pretty good.
I concur.
I think I'm gonna throw in the Vikings at 5, just because I feel like this has been a very lucky season for the Vikings. They just find some way to pull some bullshit out of their ass and win.
Did you
So
watch
I
the
feel
Colts
like-
game?
Huh?
Did you watch
Like the
that
Colts
Colts game?
Yeah.
That was.
So I
They should
feel
not
like-
have won that game.
No, they shouldn't have won against the Bills either, but they did. And I think that's going to be the theme for this season. They just find ways to win. They're just going to have some bullshit go their way, and they will somehow stumble their way into a ridiculous... This season's probably to end ridiculously. So I think I'm gonna
Right,
have
but there's also, in my opinion, 6 teams that are just as good as the Cowboys, or just as good as the Vikings, that won't have to go do some bullshit to win games.
Yeah. But I think it's just fate. I feel like this is just their year. They'll find some ridiculous bullshit and they will find a way to win. So I think they're like the football gods have blessed this team for whatever reason, so they have the bullshit blessings to make it to them.
Careful now. Don't want to get him off your side.
Oh, it's the Vikings. They'll leave their side at some point.
Number 4, I've got the Bills. They just make too many mistakes to be the number 1 team. They're still really good. They've got a really good defense. They've got really good offense. They've got Josh Allen. But he just makes too many mistakes, and he needs to clean it up a little bit. So I've got him at 4.
I again concur. I really like the Bills. They're just a really good team. I think the other teams are just better right now. Is really just what it is.
I'm gonna go with the... What do we have, 4? I'm gonna
Yep.
go with the Bengals.
Okay.
I'm
fair.
trying to figure out who he has at 6.
Is it the
That's
Cowboys?
That's gonna be a fun.
No, the Keys have the Cowboys at 7. That's who he have at 7.
Yeah, I'm just to see who Shane has the rest in his top 5.
Because I think there's a clear top 5, and then there's a 6, 7.
Yes. I think it's Cowboys 6 and 7 for me.
Cowboys, Vikings,
Or
6, 7.
6, yeah.
And then there's a clear top 5, I think.
Yeah. I think you and I
number
are the
3.
same wavelength, somewhat.
Yeah. I've got the Chiefs, number 3. They've still got Patrick Mahomes. The defense could use a little work, but that's fine. They're good enough.
I mean, when you have
Chiefs
Patrick
at 3.
Mahomes on your team, you're like, it's hard to not be a top 5 team.
Yeah.
I also have the Chiefs at 3.
Alright. And number 2, I've got the Eagles. I've got the Eagles second, because Jalen Hurts injury, and also because my number 1 team just looks unstoppable in all facets of the game. So I've got the Eagles at 2.
I have the 49ers at 2. It's just, I like the Chiefs, man. I'm not the Chiefs, the Eagles. Or, like the Eagles, because they're obviously my 1. So, 49ers, I think they're really good. I just, both sides of the ball, I think Eagles are a little bit better. I like their defense a lot.
Okay.
They don't let up points, Jeremy.
They just gave up 40 to the Cowboys.
Cowboys are a top 6 team in the game, man.
You can't say they don't give up points.
I mean, take out that 1 week, and they don't. I'm not gonna punish them for 1 bad week.
Okay.
They were missing their inspiring leader.
Yeah, they've also lost Sean Murphy Bunting for the season who was probably one of their better defenders.
Their inspiring leader.
Okay. You have a
I'm
two,
gonna
Shane.
go. I think I'm gonna go. So is it pretty much? So Jimmy G's out for the season, right?
Yeah, it's Brock
He
Purdy.
could come back for the playoffs, but
They're not
he's
going
probably
to.
not going
So it's
to.
Brock. I don't know if I guess stranger things have happened.
Brock Purdy's the
Tough
best
luck.
QB
I'm just
in the
gonna
NFL.
have Eagles, and then I'll have 49ers at number 1.
Yeah, I've got the Niners at 1. I mean, we talked about it. That offense is insane. And you know who they just got back today?
Who?
A little guy named Nick Bosa.
Oh shit.
Pretty good at football. And unlike the Eagles, that defense is getting healthier. Where the Eagles, that defense is getting more injured. Also, that team is just unstoppable, the way they play football. You can say, hey, we're going to focus on Christian McCaffrey today. Too bad, they've got George Kittle scoring 3 touchdowns on you. Okay, we're gonna focus on George Kittle then. Uh-oh, looks like you've got caught a case of the Debo today. He's gonna go run and catch a total of 200 yards and score 2 touchdowns. Oh, maybe we should focus on Debo then. Oh, there's a little guy named Christian McCaffrey who also can do the same thing as Debo Samuel. And God, that team is unfair. Then you put that together with
Ayuk.
yeah, Ayuk, because he's a really solid 2.
Yeah.
The Bengals-Bills game is going to be a fun game to watch on Monday.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then that defense for the 49ers, right? They have the best linebacker core in the NFL. They have one of the best linebackers there in Fred Warner. Very, very good. They have Nick Bosa coming back from injury. That is a very scary defense. Already the best defense in the league, adding Nick Bosa to it. Can't really get worse with Nick Bosa.
Who do you see making the final wildcard spots?
Beginning of the season?
Or like these playoff races, like who do you think takes these last few spots?
The Giants need to win 1 game. They either need to beat the Colts this week or the Eagles next week. I think both of those games are winnable because the Eagles are probably going to be resting their starters.
But
That being
they
said,
also, it's a division rival too. Though.
it doesn't matter. They're going to rest their starters. They've already cleared. If they win
Scott
it,
a starter?
no, he's not a starter.
Oh.
Yeah, no. That being
I think the
said,
Colts, though, I think you should beat the Colts.
we should. We should.
Sure.
But
Should.
isn't that like when the Colts are like their best?
Yeah, that is when the Colts are the best.
I don't know. They should have won a game with a 33-point lead.
Colts are
That
getting
being
Colts,
said-
man.
I think the Matt Ryan kind of outweighs the Colts.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I
That's
think
why
the
they
system-
benched him for Nick Foles. They thought they'd take the Nick Foles energy. Little did they know it only works if you put him in midway through a game.
I don't know what Matt Ryan did to piss off the football gods, but my God, he must have really done something awful.
Yeah. In the 7th spot, Commanders just turned back to Carson Wentz, so I think they're out. That puts it between a toss-up between the Lions, the Packers, and the Seahawks, right?
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers is on a little bit of a vengeance tour, so I think the Packers might sneak in there.
So you think it's the Giants and the Packers for those final 2 spots?
I hope.
You hope.
It sounds right, but also the Giants can very easily find a way to lose both of these games. So we hope.
You hope. And then for the AFC, who do you think gets
AFC.
that spot? I think it's taught. So I think we all think the Jaguars are probably going to take that division. Or do you think the Titans going to take it?
We'll see. I think if you have a healthy Derrick Henry, the Titans have a chance to win that game no matter what. Being said,
Do you want me to list out the teams for you?
let's see. We have we've got, where is it? Why is it
The
in there?
Dolphins, the Patriots, the Jets, the Steelers still have a chance. Jaguars, Titans.
It's only going to be one of the Jaguars or the Titans.
They still statistically have a chance of making it in, so throw them in there.
It's one of them is going to win their division, and the other one is not going to win their division, and that's it. That's what's going to go on there.
I mean, they still have a chance to make the wild card. Not a good chance, but it's a chance.
I don't think they have a chance of making.
Oh, because they have to face each other. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
So we have. Okay. Technically, I think it'll go. There's only one spot left. I think the Chargers just clinched, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's gonna go to the Patriots
Ooh.
because the Dolphins just lost Tua again. So no, I don't think they're gonna do it.
Just gotta look at it's because the Dolphins and Patriots are playing each other.
That's gonna be a huge matchup.
So. Yeah.
So I have I've got the Patriots, I believe.
And then you have the Jaguars and the Titans.
I think I'll take the Jags. Yeah, I think I'll take the Jags.
And then, do you think the Bucks are gonna lose that division to the
I
Carolina?
hope they do. I
hope
really
so,
hope
too.
they do.
Same here.
I want the Panthers in the playoffs so bad. I think that'd be
hilarious. I don't think it's gonna happen though. Tom Brady's gonna find some bullshit with it.
Yeah, probably. It won't even be bullshit. He'll just find a way to win. Steelers might be able to sneak in, actually. No?
What's up?
Do you have a pick for the last wild card spot?
I mean, wasn't Tua a concussion?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tua's probably
Well, I couldn't remember what the injury was.
concussion. Teddy Bridgewater is going to start.
Yes, he is going to start.
I mean, how's my boy Mike White doing?
He's supposed to come back this week.
With ribs that are barely attached to
Hey.
the body.
Hey, and you know what? He's got that dog in him. You know, he's gonna. I mean, dare I say it, man? Mike White season? That team just plays so much better when he's on the field.
Yeah.
If he's healthy, not even healthy, if he's on the field, you know, you could just slot him in as the running back. I don't care. Like, as long as he's on that field, you know, he could be a kicker too. Like, I mean, as long as he's playing, I think the Jets have a really good chance. I really like the Jets with Mike White.
That's fair.
That'd be fun.
I like
The
it.
two New York teams in the playoffs.
It would be fun.
That would be fun.
We could have an all New York Super Bowl.
On the Super Bowl. It's the battle of the Subway Series, you know.
Who do you think makes the final NFC wildcard spot? So you
NFC?
said you have the Giants.
The Giants.
So you got one more. It's between the Commanders.
Oh,
the
Seahawks.
Giants, and the Packers.
Seahawks.
Seahawks haven't won a game in like 5
It's
years.
Seahawks.
They have a
Seahawks.
3-game losing streak.
That's okay. And the
I
Packers.
was just correcting Jeremy.
Listen, man. The Seahawks. They're back. I'm telling you. I'm gonna pray on it, and they're gonna be in.
Yeah.
Let's see
The
if
power of
Seahawks-
manifestation.
Oh well, I think in order for the Jets to make it, they have to beat the Seahawks, and if the Seahawks lose, I think that pretty
Seahawks
much
play the Jets. Yes.
Okay.
So both of them can't make it.
Okay, my bad. Okay, then fine. We'll drop the Seahawks. Never liked them anyway. I think the Lions being in it would be funny.
That would be.
Lions play the Packers. Week 18.
I don't like the Packers. So, I'd rather the Lions make it.
Okay.
You know, I would prefer neither of those teams make it. I would rather not face a division rival.
Now, let's remember that the Commanders are also still there. So.
Nope.
You know.
Heineke's not in charge no more. It's Heineke or bust for me, man.
I think
agree.
it'd be fun to see the Commanders make it, but I think realistically, the Seahawks.
I don't want the Commanders to make it. Because I want whatchamacallit to sell the team for a lot of money.
Oh, Dan.
He's going to be
Snyder.
so rich. Did you see how much the Suns went for?
No, how much they go for?
The Phoenix Suns went for like $4 billion, didn't they?
Holy shit!
Yeah. The Phoenix Suns went for $4.9 billion.
Yeah. Like, the Snyder, not the Rizzos, the learners with the Nats are about to be so rich.
The initial estimates came in for the Commanders' first bids were around $7 billion.
Yeah. And I mean, they're like willing to pay more for Snyder just to be completely bought out.
Yeah.
Because like there was like, you know, some rumblings that, you know, he would sell like a minority stake or something. Or like sell enough where he was still a minority owner. And they're like, no, we don't want
we
that.
don't.
We're only giving you this money if you're gone, man. Which, I mean, hey, he'll have $7 billion. I don't think he'll care.
He's not hurting for money either. He's already a billionaire, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, $1 billion compared to $7 billion? That's like a lot of money.
You're right, it is a lot of money.
$7 million is a lot of money.
Yeah. It's too much money.
Too much money. But, you know, hey, it's what the market says you're worth. I hope the Nats sell soon. Or not, the learners sell soon. Just because that's, like, something that's hovering over a franchise. I think, like, having, like, your franchise for sale is during the season is tough for a fan base. You know? Especially when you're rebuilding.
Mm. Yeah, no, that is tough.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a while before the Nationals are good again.
No.
You don't think so?
They have a
How long do
lot of good.
baseball- How long do baseball rebuilds?
Well, so typically they take 4 to 5 years. But when you trade a guy who's compared to Mickey Mantle and like Ted Williams, it tends to speed up your rebuild a little bit. So I mean, I think give them 2-3 more years. I think they'll be really good. I think by the end of next year, they're gonna be kind of where the D-backs are at right now, or like where the Orioles are at. You know, where it's like they're not quite contenders yet, but like, you know, they're looking really good. They're like one piece away, type place. That's just my opinion, though. What do I know?
More than me.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm not that high on the Nats rebuild yet.
I don't know, man. James Wood's pretty good.
We'll see.
I like their farm more than I did a year ago.
Yeah, but they still suck at prospect development. That's gonna be an issue.
Want to get to Hayden's question of the week?
I do. Hayden, do you have a question for us?
I do. I don't think the general people are going to care too much. Jeremy, who wins, me or Shane?
In what?
In the fantasy football
Fantasy football.
our fantasy football showdown. It's me and Shane for the league.
That would be a good poll for Instagram, like who wins in fantasy football, and just post our teams.
Yeah.
What? You should do that, Shane.
Do you wanna read
here's
out
what
the
it-
teams, Jeremy, or do you pretty much know them?
I think
currently pulling it
we're
up
talking about
to
the
read.
Monday night game. That's why I'm really excited for it, because
Yeah.
you have Joe Burrow, I have Josh Allen, going against each other.
That's big.
That is a big. Like, it's going to be decided on Monday night.
I'm still debating whether or not I should put in Knox or Singletary.
I'm waiting to see if Debo gets healthy.
I love how the ESPN app gives you a line.
Does
A
it
spread on the game.
Yeah.
Right now, you're favored by 3.8 points.
Yeah.
Hayden minus 3.8 is the
Yeah.
spread
That's
right
the
now.
story of my season, though. That's the story. I have
Yeah.
been like an underdog in all of my games and just found ways to win. I'm like the Minnesota Vikings. I was projected to lose so many games, yet we're here. And we also have Justin Jefferson.
I think that Hayden's gonna win because because Jalen Waddle has not Tua throwing the ball. That's the main reason.
Yeah, my team does not have a lot going for it.
I think it's very close. I think this matchup, aside from the quarterbacks on Monday night, is really going to come down to your running back twos between Travis Etienne and Cam Akers. Whichever one decides to actually do something this week is going to win, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm going to lean Hayden a little bit.
That's fair. I would lean Hayden too.
I mean, yeah. I have the 52% win probability. So it's a
It's
very
basically
slight
even.
lean. Yeah.
It's basically even. I think it'll be close.
Which, I mean,
I'm
yeah,
excited.
makes sense. We're the final.
There's been
So.
some real mismatched finals, man.
Well, that's what I mean, like, it's supposed to be kind of close.
It's supposed to.
It's not going to be me and, like, the worst team, or Shane and the worst team in the league, it's...
Right.
We were, like, the two best teams in the regular season, like, the regular season.
In one of the championships I'm in, I'm favored by 25 points. So, it's not as close. He's
Yeah.
also starting Brock Purdy.
You are, or they are?
They are.
Oh, well, I mean, they're... I mean, I don't know what the rest of the team is, but I'm liking it so far for them.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
we got
putting
to see
in
that.
Dalton Schultz over Knox. I feel like that's a safe bet. Just
Yeah.
because Tennessee is.
Dalton
sucks.
Schultz plays in 2 hours, so
Yeah.
make sure you're happy with that.
No, because I'm like, I drafted this guy. I'm sticking with him for the points. So that's kind of what I went with. It's like, did I draft you right from the get go? And are you supposed to have more points? I'm like, alright, that's what I'm gonna do.
I'm just waiting to see if Debo's healthy.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I've also kept Cam Akers on my bench this whole time, even though he's been awful.
And then he popped
And I'm
off
like,
last
"Hey."
week.
He popped off last week when he was on my bench, but I'm like, alright, this is the time that draft pick doesn't go to waste.
I mean, who would you play if it wasn't him?
McKinnon, and then I would throw in another wide receiver at the flex, maybe. But it's because he's going against the Chargers, who have an awful run defense. And he did really well last game, so since he's getting majority of the touches, maybe he pulls off
Yeah.
like a good game or gets a touchdown.
If
That's the
Mike
hope.
White's back,
Yeah. So if
Wilson's
Mike
gonna
White's
be
back,
insane.
that's really good for Garrett Wilson.
really good. Because, Jets are, like, good when Wilson's play. Or not, yeah.
Oh yeah, Garrett Wilson. There's a notable difference when
Mike White's throwing the ball and when
Mike
Zach
White's
Wilson.
throwing him the ball or Joe Flacco over the other Wilson.
Mm-hmm. They don't have that connection, the Wilson-to-Wilson connection.
You really don't.
You really thought they would have, but...
He was even better with Strevler throwing him the ball.
I mean, that game was... I don't know if you watched that Jets game. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. It was.
It was
very
funny watching him get booed.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he leaves the field, like, it's like the team is way better. It's like night and day.
It's crazy how that works.
Yeah. But he did the one play.
He did.
The reason why
He
he
did the
got
one
drafted
play.
second overall.
He did it.
He did it. He did the
did
one
that.
play. One thing we haven't talked about, though, real quick, I think we need to appreciate real quick. Tom Brady has been in the NFL for a majority of his life now.
It's exactly half of his life now.
Well, it was actually exactly half his life yesterday. So now it's,
Oh, okay.
a majority by one day. It's 50%
Good for
plus
him.
1.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Actually, you know what? I don't know if that's accurate. I don't think they're counting the 2 weeks he was retired.
Maybe. I mean, by the end of the year, though, like, he'll be in the NFL majority of his career.
Yeah, assuming he doesn't retire.
Or majority of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not career. That's wild, though.
That is wild. That's
Ridiculous. I'm trying to think of, like, other people who could be...
there isn't.
I mean, I think Justin Verlander's got to be getting up there, right?
Drafted or in the MLB?
In the MLB. I don't know what age he came up at. He is 42, right? Or he's 39. He has... I'm trying to see how much service time he has. He's at 17 years that he's pitched. But he's been in the MLB 18 years. Here. He'll hit it. He's at 17 years of service time. And he's 39 years old, right? So, he has to pitch in the MLB for
5 more years.
5 more years. I think he can do it. If anyone can do it, it's Justin Verlander.
I guess.
I mean, who else in baseball can do that? Or any sport, really. Could be like that.
LeBron James.
LeBron James, that's another one. He's got to get close. Or be getting close.
He's close. He's got to be close. He was drafted in a high school, so he was like 18.
Yeah.
And now he's like almost 40.
Oh, then he's got to be like there. Yeah, no, he's already there.
Yeah. That's the only guy I can think of.
LeBron, Verlander will be close. Yeah, I think that's like it. But that's pretty cool. I like that. That's fun.
Yeah, it is cool.
Do you guys have anything else you guys wanted to talk about?
I think we're good.
Shane?
Thank you, everyone.
Oh,
So-
I'm getting my pins removed tomorrow.
Hey, woo! Good luck.
Yeah, we're making progress.
We'll be skating again.
Tomorrow.
Sorry,
Straight
that's a
from the
lie.
hospital.
He was already skating again. So I
Yeah.
mean, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah,
We're
you can get
still
back in the
month to
skating
month.
shape. Right? Like, you can skate and not...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like athletically, I've just really out of shape.
Yeah.
But I feel like once I get my splint off after surgery, I'm gonna be doing a lot of runs.
Right?
Yeah.
Sounds good. I'm happy for you, Shane.
I'm happy for
Thank
you, too.
Appreciate it.
Alright, well, thank you everybody for tuning in to the Triple Threat Show on our YouTube at the Triple Threat Show. I've been your host, Jeremy Lapidus, joined as always by my two friends and co-hosts.
Dan?
And the Hidden
And
Aimer.
you can check us out on YouTube at the Triple Threat Show. Our new show time hasn't been confirmed yet, but I believe it's going to be 4 to 5:30 p.m. Either Monday or Wednesday. And we'll figure that out.
I think it was Wednesdays what we agreed on.
Wednesday. Every Wednesday on
Right, Shane?
WSJM 88.7 FM. And check us out on Instagram at the Triple Threat Show. And on Twitter. I think I made a Twitter. I'll have to double check that. At the Triple Threat Show. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Have a good night.